You say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave with what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. I just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. Just wanna see you.
Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. Sarah Bareilles, Brave. Great song. Somehow I think that's going to tie into the title of this. Finding courage in the times of frustration. I don't know what I'm going to call this yet, but it has to do with that. It's in lines. Well, one, it was this is kind of listener, viewer request, I guess, and wow, I just got to say first off to preface, getting close to my big moment, and many of you out there are aware. I will say I'm looking forward to doing shows after. There are so many little techniques that I have been using and picked up, learned, figured out through this process. I've challenged myself in so many different ways, and it's been pretty fantastic. And I realize it's probably not good for me to be doing shows in the midst of all this because, it's like talking about the tornado while you're swirling around inside of it is, probably not the best perspective of the tornado, or a good one. But I think after I talk about it, after the tornado spits me out, then I'll talk about what it was like to be inside, and I think that'll be more fun. It'll be relative to everything else. So yeah, again, just excitement galore. It's very, very cool. I'm enjoying. I'm also, by the way, I've said to a lot of people, all this stuff for me is just fun right now. It's fun. Having these, butterflies and all that again, it's so awesome. Loving it. So anyway, someone had kind of a request around when we're frustrated, when there's just that level of love. And I would say this is super similar to mine and hopefully to a lot of people out there. And so I'm going to talk about kind of a more spiritual concept that goes with this. So I'm hoping you give me a little bit of leeway, but I do truly feel like this is a big part of this experience because one, we're imagining out, so that's great. But when our heart gets involved, right? Love doesn't know anything, right? The heart knows no bounds. Love is what love is. There's so many cliches around what love can do for us, gives us wings, right? So the power of love, when love is something that's driving us, when it's something that's pushing so hard that any other idea or any other path, or it's just like you can't fathom not going through, like, I don't know if for sure this is going to work out, but I have to know what's behind that door. Basically to that level, right? Like, even if it doesn't work out, I just have to know why I feel so strong about this individual. So when we reach those levels of feeling, when it's just very, very intense, I think that's what this is kind of in relation to. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of flip through this email real quick, as quickly as I can. It's quite a lot of words, but to keep the show as brief as possible. Then I'm going to go over the quick action of what I really do believe is happening, and maybe a couple scenarios, and then we'll try to keep it short. So it's football Sunday. Come on now, at least football in the United States. So I just watched your video entitled "Letting Go Out of Frustration," and it's just what I needed to hear. I've been working on manifesting my specific someone for the past 3 years, and it has been quite a journey. I have learned so much and have put in a lot of time working on myself during the process as well. Self-love, affirmation, self-talks, etc. I can truly say without a doubt that I love my special person, although our situation is complicated and a difficult one to say the least. Our relationship is beyond great, as we never go a day without talking, nor do we allow long periods of time to pass without seeing each other, and we are heavily involved in each other's life. But the problem lies in the fact that she is a cousin to my ex-wife, been divorced for 10 years. And therefore, she has fear of her family rejecting her and losing those relationships. This is such a frustrating situation, as I have seen the love in her eyes and in her actions, although her situation seems to dictate where we are. So about a month or so ago, I decided to let go and see what happens. And as you probably guessed, things started developing further than ever before. So me trying not to be needy, I handled it with care, but at times my emotions got the better of me, and I dove right in, but I was getting positive engagement. Excited, I couldn't help but think, wow, maybe this is it. So as time went on, things seemed to be going great, and then she landed her dream job. I'm so happy for her and been extremely supportive, although it's 2 hours away and she is now forced to move. Strike one. So I try hard not to react emotionally to the situation in which I have no control over. But then a few days ago, during one of our conversations, she kindly reminded me of the difficulties in our relationship. She addressed the elephant in the room. That might be the title of this, by the way. So I'm at a point of total frustration as I feel that maybe I'm walking a path that truly isn't meant to be, even though I received huge signs in the past to keep going when I've reached the same level of frustration. Can't help but question my sanity at times like these, but I was wondering if you could share how you truly let go and what was your experience when doing so. I know trying to attract people can take time, but can't we get some confirmation from the universe that keep us sane? Anyways, I hope you're meeting with your person, blah, 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 all that stuff. All right, so there's a few things to this that I think are worthy of discussing. One, the very last part, do we get signs that'll keep us sane? Here's one of the fun parts about this whole process. Yes, you will, but you will never get anything that's like so black and white, so proof, so etched in stone. Here's the stone tablet left on your front porch, your front doorstep, and it was signed by, universe, right? Like, no, that never happens. But you will get all sorts of signs and coincidences. What's really awesome about this path is one thing that's not really stressed enough by Neville, though he does get very into the gaudy side of it, but and law of attraction doesn't really get into it much. They're kind of more from the universe, and I like that a lot. I just think it's a more kind of good word for nowadays. But that being said, the way that manifestations occur, I hope I can get my train of thought back. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I can even get there. The confirmations, there you go. It's the way the law of attraction works. It's kind of a spiritual process on top of everything else. And that is where the faith comes in. It's the faith in how it works. It's the faith in knowing that this does work. That's where that letting go concept comes in. It's, I've tried to talk about it on some other shows, giving examples of, things like, you put a letter in the mailbox to mail off. You have faith that it's going to get there. You don't really worry about the mechanisms. You don't necessarily think about all the things that could possibly go wrong during its journey, right? You just shove it in the mailbox and it ends up 99.999% of the time, your mail ends up exactly where you intended it to go. The bill gets paid, if you will. The same concept. If you put a cake in the oven, right? It looks like crud at first, but seriously, in 45 minutes, it'll rise up, it'll get all puffy and yummy and smells great. Like it's that same thing that things kind of, they happen. Well, they happen in their way, but there's no knowing in advance. There's no real guaranteed proof. Again, we get the little snippets, like when you quit before, to the guy that actually sent this in. When you do quit and get out of your own way and you have those experiences that are profound. That's why I keep bringing it up to people. It's amazing what typically happens when you finally literally say, I don't care. Sometimes you can get there because law of attraction works or Neville Goddard's concepts work. But sometimes you get there in these cases, in frustration. And in these moments, if that's what you got to do, do it. Do it. You've already done a lot of work. I want you to know stopping for a month is not going to matter. You're still going to see residual things. But when you get out of your way, it is amazing how much we are slowing ourselves down, causing ourselves not to see things because we're so expecting a specific outcome. We're so focused on, why didn't they text back? They didn't see the fact that they just sent an email, or they didn't see the fact that maybe they tried calling but you didn't answer, right? Like, whatever the case is, there's always a different way that things might show up. And we get so focused on it showing up a specific way. Another thing too, obviously when we're having challenges and troubles and trials and tribulations like this person, right? When it's a strong feeling like it sounds like it is, I want you to know that no matter what, you can have whatever you want. It can sometimes require lengths of time that maybe some of us aren't willing to go. So that's not ever been the question that a lot of people ask. Can I have whatever I want? Yes, you can. Could it possibly take a really long time if I'm asking for something that maybe doesn't line up with my higher self and their higher self and maybe some other people involved? Like, if it doesn't line up well in those regards, might it take a lot longer? Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes being open to what is happening before you is oftentimes a great sign for the growth and development that we've done in our lives. So in this individual's case here, and again, I'm going to kind of use this as an example of so many things, because all of us, depending on who's watching and who's viewing, we all come at different areas right now. So in this case, this person has been working with this individual for a while. They've grown, they've developed. There's been a lot of bonding that's occurred. And so now this individual is moving a couple hours away, an inconvenience for sure, and sort of annoying, but by no means anything that's can keep this from going on. And certainly people can still, join over there. And in fact, as that being 2 hours away, maybe a little further away from family, actually might make this relationship easier to unfold now, because it's not right in front of everyone's face. And if it goes on long enough, you know what I mean? Like it might just work out better that way. So sometimes when we see an avenue happening and it's like, oh, this sucks, this is a problem, this is bad, maybe not. Maybe it's what you're trying to manifest. Maybe this is a step towards what you were hoping to accomplish. See, a lot of times, again, we get so focused on what we expect to see, how we expect this to work out. It's like with my significant person. When we get together, I am truly just going there to have the best time with her, to just enjoy seeing her, to just get to look in her eyes again, to just see what's up and where we're at. I have no expectations of where the next step is supposed to be, and I'm not going to. I don't know, and it doesn't matter right now. What matters right now is the next step as far as her and I. I don't need to get past that as far as our relationship. I don't need to be jumping ahead. Well, what about when we get married? What? Whoa, hang on, right? Like, no. No, just enjoy the next step. And sometimes when things present themselves like they kind of are in this case, sometimes that's a good thing. We're so determined it's bad. 2 hours, that's not that long a drive. Yeah, it sucks. So you guys might have to appreciate your time with each other more. You can still call. You can still text, right? All these things can happen. And again, you're not going to go that many days without seeing each other. Maybe a week, maybe 2. But this might inspire direction. Maybe there's a perfect job for you that's out that direction, or maybe within 20 minutes of where this 2 hours away is. A lot of things are very possible. So again, sometimes when we've put all this efforts forth and weird things start to happen, that doesn't necessarily mean it's over. It might actually mean maybe this is sort of the step I need to start opening my mind up to. Ooh, like maybe I should consider moving, or maybe I should consider changing jobs depending on what I'm doing right now. Like maybe I'm just not happy. And, that's kind of one of the complaints, right? Whatever the case is. A lot of times things open up in front of us when we're on this path, when we're trying to manifesting a relationship is a life thing. It's a major aspect of who we become and are. Who we die as, relationships play an enormous part in all that growth throughout our entire lives. So relationships are nothing to take lightly. They matter. They're part of our life path. They are meant to inspire change within us. That is part of this. So we must learn to help see that and appreciate it, right? And then the other side of this that I think is truly the really important part, and I don't know what percentage of people that this is truly going to fall into. This has definitely been the case with me. This situation could not have happened had the feelings been anything less than what they've been. This situation with her would not have happened. And I know likewise from her. There's no way this coming thing would be happening if the feelings were not as significant as they are. And these are the moments where it's a very significant spiritual jump. A lot of people are talking about stuff like awakening, right? The concepts of awakening is if it's something that you know, cool. If it's something you don't know and you've heard, you're like, whatever, I'm already awake, whatever. I had my coffee already, we're good. There's all sorts of variants of where people are at with it. This aspect is a huge part of the spiritual awakening that will occur within us. The jump between the third chakra or your gut. When people say, I have a gut feeling, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. That's a gut feeling. The next step up is your heart. Your heart chakra feels things that don't necessarily have a logical backing to it. A lot of this law of attraction stuff does kind of emanate from that area, these good vibrations, these good feelings, a lot of this stuff. Yes, we're imagining from up here maybe, and maybe it's the third eye that's seeing it, but your heart is feeling it. And when you make that jump where you feel something so strongly that you choose to go down a path, even though there's not really any supporting evidence to say that's the good idea. In fact, for a lot of us, you will actually have lots of people telling you you're crazy. Yet, it nags at you. You've turned away numerous times, and it nags at you. There's something about it. So you continue down the path. That is very, very specific and very unique. And I can't make decisions for any of you, and I would never tell you what you should do, and you should never have anyone tell you what you should do. You should do what feels right for you. But I am saying, pay attention to that. Because when it's strong and it's been bugging you, and I know there's some of you out there that'll be like, oh my God, he's hitting it on the nail right here. Boom, hitting the nail on the head. I know that feeling. That is why I'm 5 years into this, and that is why this coming day is going to be exciting. I don't know what comes after. To me, it feels like a fresh beginning is what it feels like. We'll see what happens. I don't know. No pressure on her. Hopefully no pressure on me. That's certainly something that I've learned, by the way. We'll be talking about that in future shows. Pressure is an amazing thing. Being right and wrong, amazing thing. Negative thoughts and feelings, awesome. Awesome. All this stuff is good. It's good. And I've got such great appreciation and understanding for it. So again, future shows, I'm going to be doing some really, really good stuff around some of the struggles, especially as you get closer. It gets fun. It's good times. And all of us, of course, are in our own variant of this, our own example of how this is playing out in our world. So it's good times. Hopefully this helps. I still don't know what the heck I'm going to call it. We'll figure that out as time comes. But again, there's a lot of aspects that come into these moments of frustration, and I know many of us are there. And we really need to assess, and it's different for all of us. Yes, you can manifest anything you want. Yes. And depending on the circumstances, it might not be a crazy amount of time. If you're in that situation where the guy's literally a day away from getting married and you're still trying to manifest him, you could, but now you're manifesting a few years out where the divorce occurs. Is that worth it? If it is, okay. Again, these are questions we have to ask. You can manifest anything. How long it takes is oftentimes the question, and that depends on a number of things. And sometimes, again, opening up to whatever else. Who knows? Again, we're all in different places. And it's hard to do shows that are so general because some people, I think, need to hear, yes, you can, yes, you can, yes, you can. And so sometimes you do your cheerleader shows, and then sometimes you try to do stuff that's just general info. That's good. So a little more general info. And thank you, viewer, for giving such a great question. I thought it was awesome. So going to be going out with a great Van Halen song, at least I think so. And a lot of people would call it Van Hagar because of the version of Van Halen. It was back when Sammy Hagar was a part of it. The song's called Dreams. It's here on Dan Radio Style.